Sup. My name is Ray for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. It is Monday, so it's time for Coffee Time, the 10 to 15 minute discussion video where we just run down one topic and sometimes get a little bit off topic, so we finish it in the comment section. So I need you guys to lay some comments down. Don't be shy. Don't worry. We're a friendly little community in our little circle of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council, or at least we try to be. And usually it doesn't get heated, so let's keep it that way. So today on Coffee Time, we are talking about the one, the only Konami, and have they gone too far with rarity bumps and causing the secondary market to basically just skyrocket? And why would they cause a secondary market? Well, we're going to get into that by covering everything. Now, before I go into this full discussion, I am also going to mention some of Vexcus's what the fuck videos, because they are hilarious to say the least. I'm not sure if any of these stories from the Zodiac group, except probably the first one, are true, so take them with a grain of salt, but coming from a guy who knows a thing or two about Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices is kind of ridiculous. So let's talk about the Secret Forces as our first example. Konami set out to basically make a shit ton of money. I respect that. They're a business. That's what you need to do to stay afloat. You need to be able to pay your employers. You need employees. You need to be able to keep the business running. You need to be able to pay the rent, turn the lights on, everything. I understand that business aspect. Konami's a worldwide business, so at the end of the day, they're going to make buck. But here's the thing, and many of you have experienced this regardless of seeing all the videos on YouTube here. When the Secret Forces were open, 1 in 5 boxes of a case usually had Bryonac. Now, to pull Bryonac and that low rate caused the secondary market to see dollar signs, ching, and they basically said, fuck it, we're going to raise the price to $140 to $130 for one single card. Now do your math real quick. That's close to 500, no, that's over 500. That's about $700 for 3 cards. Follow me here. There's a reason I bring this up. Valkyrius is also short printed and is around 80 bucks. Valkyrius is around 80 bucks. The last time I checked, or 40. So we'll go on the low end and say 40. That's another 120. Right there, you have almost $800 in cards. The one Trishulia, that's another 40. Combined with your whole extra deck, you're gonna get about $1,000 worth out of a Netcloth stack. Now, is Konami truly to blame, or is the secondary market truly to blame, or is it the players to blame for the rarity hikes? And we're going to go straight into it. But first, I want to break this down. Some guy pulled out, signed up for a credit card, and they gave him credit. That's great. This is what you want. It's part of being an adult. But because of the demand of Netcloths, and he wanted to be the very best that there ever was, and yes, that's a Pokemon pun, on a Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel, regardless, he decided to ruin his credit by basically getting a Netcloth deck for, just like we talked about, over about $700, and then close the account. So he figures, hey, I'm not gonna fucking pay for this, I get it for free. Guess what, buddy? For the next 7 years, you just ruined basically your credit score. And what a credit score is, for those of you who don't know, in the US, it allows you to buy a brand new car. It basically has a tracking history. It says this is, what you've done, and if need be, well, then you can buy a house if you have the part of the cash too. It's a long. I'm trying to make it short as hell. Here's the point. You just ruined yourself, because that's gonna follow you for the next 7 years from the point that you basically close the account up. That's going to apply all the way to 2022. That is nuts for a deck of cards. Now, I've never taken out a credit card. I've known people who have, and it ruined their credit and nearly ruined their lives. It's not something you want to do for a card game. Now, the question comes down to it, and again, like I said before, the what the fuck videos are great. But some of these on the Zodiac group, you gotta take with a grain of salt, which is coming up. Here's the problem. Konami's at fault, number one. We're not calling them the scapegoat, but they are at fault to a point for short printing these Netcloth cards. Trishulia is not that expensive. You only really need 1 or 2 in the deck. But when it comes to that Bryo, it is a core card. Now for the core card, 1 in 5 boxes is the average ratio of pulling them out. So you only have 1 in 5. So there's 12 boxes in a case. Most of the time you're not going to see 3 in a case. That's 12 boxes out of a fresh made box. Cut of cards, however you want to put it, the machine does it. So you have 12 boxes, you pull 2 Brio, and you pull everything else under the sun. Right? So that's Konami's fault, number 1, for short printing. Number 2, it's also the player's fault, because when they see, the secondary market has these cards and they're the best deck right now, we want to make it the best deck, we're going to play the crap out of it in high numbers. It's going to create a hype situation where everyone wants to play it, everyone wants to buy it. And trust me, I understand this. Here's the problem, though. It ends up resulting in the secondary market saying, fuck this, we're going to either A, cutthroat each other, which is, and when I use the term cutthroat, it means, making our price lower than the other guys and constantly doing that. Or it basically just means, short end version is profit, profit, profit. So if the player base is willing to pay the secondary market who buys from Konami or their local retailer which buys from Konami, then you're feeding Konami either which way, even if you don't buy packs. Because then the person who sells it, like myself, I'm not at fault here, I'm not innocent either, but I try to give good deals, we supply Konami again. And that tells Konami, hey, the set's selling out, let's short print more stuff. And this isn't the first time they've done this. Remember Exiton Night when it was first released? It was like 1 in 2 cases. This is the same kind of thing. And we have an upcoming set called Gold Series that could end up seeing something like this, where a high and valuable card, I don't know, or the World Superstar set that's coming up. And let's just say that the Korean exclusive Noden Elder God was in there. Can you imagine the case scenario that I'm getting at? It'd be another $130 card in every 5 boxes. This is Konami we're talking about. They're watching those eBay prices just to take research. It'd be bad marketing not to. So the question comes down to it again, who's really at fault? Is it Konami? Is it the player base? Or is it the secondary market? Who's also part of the player base because they have to understand that marketing? Honestly, I think it's all 3. It's an endless cycle that never stops. Now, I'm going to go over a few things that were on Vexkiss's video, and hopefully, as long as I remember, I'll put a link down because it was on the Zodiac group, and honestly, it is fearful. Now, the first one seems legit. The other ones, I'm not going to go fully into them because, well, I don't think they're 100% legit for the sheer fact that they may just be trying to mess with Vexkiss. It just seems like what they would do kind of thing. So one guy basically said, hey, I'm going to open a credit card to buy an Eclot deck. Now, to open a credit card, you actually have to have a job and everything like that. So what a credit card does is it allows you to build what's called a credit score here in the U.S. I'm not sure if other countries have it. I'm really not, because I've never had to deal with a lot of this stuff outside of the U.S. So I've had people for that, by the way, just in case you're wondering. So here's what it comes down to. It basically comes down to this allows you to build a credit score that says, hey, I have good credit, which means my money making, my money planning, my money saving, this is like a statement for that you would get in a bank. I have this much money put away. I am responsible. It just says you're responsible or you're not responsible, and they give you a score. The higher it is, the better. The lower it is, the shittier it is. And when you screw something up, it's going to stay there on that record, like that permanent record you get at school, for 7 straight years. So when this guy takes out the credit card to buy an entire deck and then closes the account, that's going to follow him for 7 years. So for 7 years, you won't be able to buy a brand new house. You won't be able to buy a house. I mean, unless you got the money up front, they ain't going to trust you. And finding an apartment and a place to live, they're really not going to trust you. Because that's what people look at. They look at the credit score to try to understand financially how you handle yourself. And that's the same thing when you go to buy a brand new car. They're not going to give you a good deal. You're going to have to go to a used lot, have the $4,000, the $4,000 right in front of you, and just drop it on the table and say, fuck my credit score? And they'll probably say yes, fuck your credit score. but that's going to follow you for 7 straight years. Not to mention that you're going to get a lot of bills in the mail that are going to say either respond in 30 days or we're taking this to court, and then if you don't show, well, they're going to get everything against you, and it's auto win for them, and then that will follow you for 7 years. Now, I never had to deal with this stuff, but a lot of close people to me did. So that's why I learned from their mistakes instead of making it myself, especially at the age of what I am, 25. So, is it Konami's fault that the guy took out it? No. Is it the player base fault? It's kind of crazy. That's all I have to say. I don't want to say the wrong thing there. It's kind of crazy that it gets to that situation. The one thing that I learned from the Secret Forces is that if you want to buy a box, that's fine. You can always pretty much make your money back as long as you're smart enough to calculate enough factors to basically break even, at least. Now, the one thing to take away from this whole situation is that Konami may do this in the future. So, I'm going to make another example here. I think many of you are pretty aware of this. Nintendo has the Amiibos out. Now, it's a supply and demand kind of case scenario. This is the same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! When there's that one deck that we really want, it's supply and demand. But Konami takes just everything we want, boosts it up in rarities, and I don't think they're just, looking at from Japan. I really do think they're looking at eBay and TCG, but maybe not TCG Player. Like, whatever the biggest ones are in the regions that you are, that there's a Konami office in your region, I think that's how they're doing it. They'll calculate that data and say basically, okay, what is being played in OCG and what we think will play in the TCG market, and go from there. And they've actually been pretty stellar on doing that because obviously sets are selling extremely well. Outside of the last set, which wasn't that great, and that's not the Secret Forces. I'm talking about the main 3-month sets. Well, that's because it didn't have enough power cards. And when I say power cards, it's like basically Shadow Specters or Cyber Dark Impact. There's basically it's an okay pack. It's one of those things you kind of skip. So if Konami tomorrow said to you, are we at fault, or the players at fault? Let's answer the question. Have we, Konami, gone too far? If they said that to you, what would be your answer? And that's all I really want to know in the comments. It's kind of crazy. But before I go, I'm going to just say this last one. Nothing is worth sacrificing, either a wedding ring or a friendship, or just, I don't know if all these are real, or your credit score. And many of you know I am married. I don't wear my wedding ring. My wife doesn't wear hers. There's an actual reason for that, is because when we got wed, that put the ring on, both of our rings popped off, and we had to spend a good, 2-3 hours at the reception trying to get it. So out of that light, we basically just said, you know what, it's a piece of metal, we mean the world to each other, and that's what really fucking matters. Because I think some people just get lost nowadays. I'm getting off track, but people get lost nowadays that, it's a relationship that constantly has to be worked on. You constantly have to be there, and you constantly have to be open and communicate. I think that's why me and her work so well together. But back to the point. Nothing, and when you go home to the one guy, if you really did this, I'm so sorry for you, number one. Number two, if you go home and your wife accepts you after that, kudos. Kudos, man. Because if there was an emergency, that's the first thing you pawn. Not to buy Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sorry. Priorities. So it comes down to it. Is it us for just wanting to, spend money on this hobby? Is it Konami because we're looking for a scapegoat just to, point the finger at? Or is it just the supply and demand of economics that we deal with in our daily lives and still have to, even when it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! And I know we're going straight, breaking a fourth wall kind of thing here that just says, hey, we're supposed to only talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! But this does interpret to everything else. It's kind of like saying, well, if I was going to the movies and there was only one ticket left and the movie theater wanted to be assholes and they raised the price, this is kind of the same kind of scenario. I mean, there's about 30 other ways of phrasing that. I guess I probably would use the Amiibos again as a reference, but you understand what I'm saying. Most of you should. If not, you just ask me. I'll explain it better in the comments. because it gives me a little more time to think about it instead of just like free balling the video and just going in there and just doing it one take like I normally do. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly say thank you guys again for the continued support. I hope most of you enjoy the Blue Eyes stuff. The dual videos will be starting to film again on Friday. Film, not uploaded. It's a little bit of a process that has to go on beforehand. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get any of them out over the weekend of Saturday and Sunday. So you may see them this time next week. You may see the first or second one, and then we'll go from there. It's probably going to be like 40 of them, just to make up for the fact we didn't really have them. That and subscriber showcase. I know it's one of those things I just been kind of bad at. I'm not even gonna deny that I've been bad about that. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, you know what to do. Just ask. Any deck profiles, any videos you want to see, any things you want us to talk about, please let us know in the comment section. It just helps us grow the channel. We try, or I try, because I guess I'm gonna do this the WWE way, like John Cena's the face way. I'm the face of the Yu-Gi-Oh Council, so I try to make sure I know what you guys want. I try to make sure that, you know, when I take it back to my little community of people that help me with this channel, that we can all give you what you want. One more thing, and I know, I'm just rambling now. We will be scheduling the live streams probably after Friday, because that's just, I need to get the dual videos going again, then we'll figure out the live streams. You guys will be the second people to know, because the first is going to be the immediate council stuff. So head over to our Twitch account to follow us, so you'll know, you'll get a thing in your email. If your email's hooked up to your phone, like mine is, you'll get it to your phone that we're live streaming at that time. And there'll be a video that goes out beforehand, and we do a lot of cool stuff. And eventually we'll be doing giveaways if we ever reach Twitch partnership, which I'm hoping we do. But anyway, thank you guys for continued support, and I'll catch you guys later. I'm ready for the Yu-Gi-Oh Council. And you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching. See you later. Peace!